There we go. Put it on. Got it.
All right.
Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva yo. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva a Huawei. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva, güey. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva. Paloma y me lleva para Loma, me lleva para Loma, me lleva para Loma y me lleva para Loma, me lleva para Loma, me lleva para Loma. Paloma y me lleva para Loma, me lleva para Loma, me lleva para Loma, güey. Paloma y me lleva para Loma, me lleva para Loma, me lleva con licencia. Paloma y me lleva para Loma, con licencia todos saben, me lleva para Loma. Paloma y me lleva para Loma, me lleva para Loma, me lleva para Loma. Yo soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva. Soy tan culero, brisa que el viento me lleva, brisa que el viento me lleva en ganga, brisa que el viento me lleva, güey. Paloma y me llevan para Loma, me llevan para Loma, me llevan para Loma. Paloma y me llevan para Loma, me llevan para Loma, me llevan para Loma y me llevan para Loma, me llevan para Loma, me llevan para Loma. Paloma y me llevan para Loma, me llevan para Loma, me llevan para Loma. Guillermo, ganga, Guillermo, una melodorito, hasta el año que viene, una melodorito, melodorito con amigo, una melodorito, viticongo, viticongo, una melodorito, ganga, ganga, una melodorito, una tina. Una melodorito, los paticongos, los witticongos. Una melodorito, los paticongos, los witticongos. Una melodorito.
morning and good night if it's night. And a big and hearty salam alaikum to each and every one of you that's joining us live or that will be joining us in archives. I am Tata Candelo Kimbisa, and this is It's 12 O'Clock Somewhere. And today we have the honor of having Tata Eric Cologne with us, all the way from Southern California, baby. We're over here doing our damn thing. Tata, first of all, I got to tell you that you have something on your Instagram that I cannot add you on to the Instagram live. So check it out, see if you can hook that up so we can add each other on Instagram, because there's a lot of people watching us on Instagram, and I want them to be able to see you too, brother.
Definitely. I'll definitely do that. I'm going to check that right now.
Yeah, check that right now so we can get this party started. There it is. I think unable to join, it says.
You know what it is that this computer is old as hell.
Okay.
And I'm trying to get it to behave, and it's not behaving the way it should be.
Yeah, because I see you there, but it says I am unable to add you.
I don't know why. Maybe let me see if I could go on Facebook Live here and then switch.
You're already on Facebook Live. What we need to do is get you on Instagram. Do you have your phone by you or something?
Yeah, the thing is that if I go on Facebook Live, maybe on my computer, it might be able to. I might be able to go on my Instagram on my phone.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see how we can hook this up.
Come on,
hey,
computer.
Don't worry about it, brother. We got all the time in the world. We ain't in no hurry. We on lockdown.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I'm trying to guys on Instagram. I am very sorry, and guys on Spreaker, so you won't be able to hear them on Spreaker. So if you want, guys, all you got to do is go over to Facebook Live or go to YouTube, where we are simulcasting live on all three platforms.
What's going on? Come on, bro. Messenger.
Well, Instagram, you know what? Let's forget about Instagram and let's just do what we got to do. Everybody that's on Instagram that's watching us live now, please go on over to Facebook, go on over to YouTube and see us there, because Tata's having a little bit of technical difficulties and we want to get this party started, right?
Yeah. It's having. Well, I'm having problems.
You know what? Let's forget about Instagram. Oh, there you go. Now I'm hearing myself on your computer. All right.
Yeah.
Put your camera down a little bit. There you go. Put your camera up or down so we can see you. There you go. So, first of all, salam alaikum, Tata.
Hey, malaikum salam, brother. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for having me on.
Well, brother, you know, it's been a long time in the making. It seems like every time we were going to do it, something else popped off. I was somewhere, you were doing something somewhere, and it always seems like we were crossing paths. But now that we got you here, that's a good thing. Okay. Now that we got you here, let's first, because you know some of my listening audience, although it may not seem true, don't know who Tata Eric Cologne is. All right. So first of all, let's start with who the fuck are you? You know, where did you come from? You know, what type of spiritualities you're into? Okay.
Okay. Well, originally I'm from Brooklyn, New York. My biological father was Jewish. My mother was Puerto Rican. I grew up in Brooklyn, and I grew up in Kardecian Spiritism, Kardec style Spiritism. A lot of people have a mixture of different spiritualities, and I also grew up in that as well. Doing a little bit of Sanses here. I saw a lot of 21 divisions practiced in New York. but my family comes from the actual kind of table tapping seance, just dealing more so with elevated spirit, dealing a lot in also the understanding of talking to deceased loved ones, because people don't realize that Cardassian spiritism, even though people use the selected prayers, it was specific at one time to just talk to ancestral people.
Right.
Nowadays, you have a whole court of different other commissions of spirits and things that they use that platform for as well. But I want to say prior to the 1930s, 1940s, a lot of it was more dealing with that. So I come from that background, and then in my 20s, I got my first D Lagoon reading for a situation for my wife at the time that we were married, and then I got into Palo via Orisha, which is kind of strange, but it happens that way. It happened that way because since I was already a spiritist and I was doing a lot of stuff with ancestral things and stuff like that, I wound up getting sick in an Ocha party, and I got real sick to the point where I was gonna lose my leg, and then I went to a palero, and that palero introduced me to his padrino, and they did a trabajo for me, and they cured my leg, man, and from my leg being as black as this shirt to completely healed, and then the spirit said, hey, you got to practice Palo. You have to get involved. You are stuck with us. You are kind of like, I became a slave to the Nganga, you know, whereas other people say, oh, I received that Nganga because it's a potentiality. For me, it's I received it because of health.
Right.
I received it to save my life, and it's been a blessing. So I've kind of championed the idea of being a palero. And then about 6 years into being Rayao as a Tata and Kisi, I went and I did Ocha, and I got my Ya crowned and my father's Ogun. And so I practiced, you know, Orisha worship. I'm a palero, and I'm also an espiritista.
Wow. You know, it's funny because, you know, our stories kind of collide, I guess, because of the world we were raised in. You know what I'm saying? Espiritismo first, you know? Then the Delagoon reading, you know what I mean? And then the Delagoon reading, I was like, okay, this is nice. But, you know, I you know, then came the Palo, and then years later for me came Ocha, which you already know. But it's imperative that we speak about this, brother, because as we were talking a little while ago, we've had waves of certain spiritualities having their moments. Okay. When I got initiated in the Palo almost 30 years ago, okay, people would actually tell me, are you crazy? Why are you going into that? You know, those people were evil. You remember? Those people were evil. Los paleros son malos. Los paleros, they're this and they're that and they're that. And people have taken the healing aspect out of las reglas. Okay. Not the older dudes that we know. Okay. Because we still got a whole bunch of older dudes that both of us know, and a lot of us have people in common that we know. That are like, you know, they're never into that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck this person up. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And the younger generation has taken the healing aspect out of Palo. Okay. And as we've seen through the years, okay, there have been, like, let's call it the decade of Palo, right? Where everybody wanted to be a palero, right? Everybody wanted to be a palero. Everybody was threatening someone with sticking a paper with somebody's name up a chicken's ass. I call them chicken sodomizers myself.
There was even santeros, opas, or noriates that aren't rayados that were coming out with books.
Right. And the same thing happened, a couple of years back with Kimbanda. We know that, everybody was like Kimbanda, 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 Kimbanda. And all of a sudden it died out. Okay. And now everybody's doing it in hoodoo. Okay. Mm-hmm. Where my hoodoo is better than your hoodoo and I will out hoodoo you. Okay. This is the new trend in hoodoo. And what do you think brought us to that? What do you think brought us to those things? Was it the popularity? Was it the fact that everybody was looking for an easy way or looking for power instead of looking for the healing aspects of these spiritualities?
I think what happens, and again, because you see a lot of these new makeshift witches and warlocks that are coming up, and they're very young. Some of them are very young. They adopt and assimilate ideas from different practices, and then what happens is that because it's so popularized, Orisha became very popular. Palo, in the last 15 years, when I think I was one of many of the first ones with Yahoo groups and different other groups.
I knew of two. I knew in my time when I was, and all that stuff, it was Palo. I knew two websites, yours, okay, and Tata Alice Goldbeck that had Nganga.org.
Yes, Nganga.org, yeah.
Nganga.org and yours. That's the only two that I remember from the early stages of it.
Yeah. And so I what happened was that I was being very vocal back then about how we should bring Palo to the forefront, because I think Palo was getting a bad rap.
Right.
Palo was definitely getting a bad rap. I think what happens, if people understood the understanding of why Palo is such a healing aspect, because of the understanding of what is an ngoma, a sacred drum. Mm-hmm. And that's where Palo is born from, and so that understanding and that principle of Palo was very antiquated from way back when the very first cimarrones got to the island of Cuba and ran off into the monte areas. They went to Pinal del Rio, they went to Central Orozco, they went to Oriente, they went all over except Havana.
Right.
Havana was the city, and they were trying to get out of there because that was the port.
Right.
That was the port of no return. So I think people don't understand that Palo had 300 years of unadulterated, untouched practice in the mountain before it started reaming its way back down from the mountain areas. So a lot of those practices was healing, traditional understanding, living an ethical understanding of their spirituality. And so again, like I said, I think what happened with hoodoo became that trend because there was that trend with Palo, right? Everybody was having Palo wars. Everybody was talking about each other.
No, but it trips me out because everybody was having Palo wars and there weren't any bodies.
No. Nobody.
They were basically, online internet and Fumbes,
Yeah.
And a whole bunch of stupid memes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Funny people.
That was funny shit. I mean, because every time somebody did something about me, I fucking busted out laughing. I was like, okay, this is great. Make me famous. But it still goes on to this day. But not as prevalent as before. We have to say that there has been another shift.
Yeah, I think what happens is that people there was a movement, right? There was a movement of making Palo like the big bad wolf, right? So everybody was showing their ngangas, showing bloody stuff, everything like that, right?
Right.
Then came now this new shift of what's called Malongo, or the understanding of nature, right? Because I've always spoken about it. I have a very good friend, Efrain, Tata Efrain, for people that don't know, Tata Butaco, who also he's very vocal about the understanding of Malongo, the cosmic understanding of what is power.
Boy, they hated Efrain too, boy.
Oh, they hate him. That is not hated. They hate him. They hate him. He's a good guy though, man. When you talk to him, he's a down to earth person. You know, he's just. Right. I think what it is that again, the understanding of what is the understanding of Malongo nature in itself, and in accordance with our own practices. Even when I jumped around on different levels of Palo, because I'm a mayombero,
right? And
then I got licencia in Briyumba to work with an old timer named Muerto Vivo,
right?
Which I worked for many years with in Briyumba,
right?
And then later on, I received an initiation in Kimbisa from Dr. Owen Ballard. Again, like I said, all three aspects go back to the same fundamental understanding of what is Palo, right? And Palo is just a healing art,
right?
Art of fixing situations in your life, not only health, emotional, financial, and everything else. I think, and of course, you get the other aspect, which a lot of people, you know, the aspect of the malevolent force. But I think everything in its place, right?
Right.
Kimbasa has that. Hoodoo has that. You know, Hoodoo has that a lot. You can do Psalms.
Right.
You do a lot of Psalms, and you can hurt a lot of people with the Bible, you know?
Right,
So there's always those aspects, right?
Right.
Those aspects and those understandings. But Palo in itself, I think, gave that fervor for people to want to have that power struggle, you know, that understanding of, I could be a big bad brujo. And then now Hoodoo has made it more applicable for people to grab a book, learn a little bit of herbs, learn a bit of tinctures, oils, and learn how to mix them in combinations, and then call it their practice. But technically, I think what it is, you got a lot of people that jump on the bandwagon, that jump on the bandwagon, and aren't true practitioners. It's just for the moment, you know, because we'll see in another 10 years if they're still there.
Oh, no, of course not. In another 10 years, I mean, those old folks will still be around. You know what I mean? Yeah. But a lot of people will have moved on.
I predict that in 10 years, we're gonna have the belief in aliens. Watch, it's gonna be.
Bro, I almost said the same fucking thing. Everybody's gonna be a fucking alien worshiper, you know.
An alien.
Bro, you know what? I also, because you just talked about the mountains, okay?
Yeah.
And let's talk about the freed slaves, okay? Because there was a lot of free slaves, okay? And a lot of people have taken out the aspect of the natives, okay, in Cuba, in Puerto Rico, in the Dominican Republic in those times. Although they may not be that prevalent now, which is something that a lot of people, I've got into arguments with people about, okay? Yeah, you might have Taino ancestors, but there aren't too many Tainos left, okay? There aren't any left, actually. But that's a whole other thing. I want to talk about the influence, okay, of native cultures and native roots, plants, and all those things infused into Palo Mayombe. Because as well, you know, there's a lot of people that say, well, I practice the only true way of doing Palo that comes directly from Africa. And that's the thing now. You know, oh no, Kimbisa is not real Palo because you know, Mayombe comes directly from Africa. Okay, of course, what Mayombe? Lumbe, you know, Lemba, Lo Kimbisa, you know who? You know what I mean? Because all these are subcultures and groups of people that actually formed something, or out of these groups, then everything else came out of it. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Well, you know, I've been one to have this discussion with a lot of people, and I think a lot of people don't understand that I think when I talk about it, people think that I want to restructure Palo, right?
Right.
It's not a restructure, right? Because we talk about the word Kimbambula, right? Bambula means to remember. Ki is just an adjective that means to remember, right? Kimbambula. Kimbambula la buena noche. Remember the good times. You know, Kimbambula ya son las horas, that to remember that this is now, right?
Yes.
So I think what happens is that people don't understand when a person is taken from their native land, and this has nothing to do with spirituality. This has to do with economics and the taking over of people, right?
Right.
You take someone from their land. You take me. I'm from New York, right?
Right.
You put me in bumfuck Alaska and just drop me off, right? I'm in Alaska.
Right.
And I know nothing of the topography, nothing of the geographical stuff, nothing of the animals, nothing of the water, don't know where to get food, don't know where to get anything. All I know that it's cold as fuck.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to go to the native people to figure out my surroundings and learn from them.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened with the Cimarrones. The Cimarrones, the people that escaped, not freed slaves, not freedmen, but actual slaves, because we also know through records and doctrine that free Africans had slaves as well.
Right.
Where people don't want to believe that, but that's the reality. It's written in history, right?
Well, so, except for Facundo de los Dolores Petit. I'm sorry, I had to put that in. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what happens is that these men take off. They take off into the into the mountains, into the mountainous areas.
Right.
Remember, Spaniards and anybody of European nature who had armor could not go up a hill, could not go up a mountain. It would take them years to even go up there. They would have to strip completely down like the natives and go up there. And so it wasn't proper. So once they got to a certain point, they couldn't get their animals, their carriages, their stuff up there. There was encampments of Tainos out there. The Siboneyes were out there. There's in Pinar del Rio, there's two caves. La Cueva del Congo, y la Cueva de los Indios. All right. So if it was La Cueva de los Indios, los Congo, where did that come from?
Right.
If there were not Indians there. Okay, there might have not been a big influx, millions and millions, but that doesn't mean that they weren't there.
Right.
You know, it doesn't mean that if they drop me off in the middle of a place where I don't know the topography, I don't know the geography, I don't know anything, and these natives come and grab me, hey, this is the plant for this. This is the plant for that. This is the plant for the other. And they learn these plants because nobody in Africa can say, oh, my ancestors came from Africa and they knew everything that was there in the Caribbean island. Lies.
Right.
Because there may be 3 or 4 plants that are African in nature within Central America, Mexico, South America, the Antilles Islands, and that's it. They don't show up in Africa.
That's it.
That's it.
I mean, but even if you come to think about Florida, because
Florida too.
Yeah. Well, the only indigenous fruit plant that is to Florida is the sea grape. Yeah, that's the only one. Everything else has been transported to Florida or brought to Florida from somewhere else. Yeah. So you can just see, just with that little comparison, that many of the plants that were used in Africa and even in the Caribbean back here weren't here then. They're introduced plants.
That's true. That is true. That is so true.
So then, go ahead.
So then now we have that, right? The understanding of the fauna, right?
Right.
So we get that out the way. Then now you come down to the actual practice of Bantu philosophy, right? And so Bantu philosophy is an animist understanding, right? an animist understanding. So minerals, plants, rocks, an animal, a piece of an animal bone, and maybe once in a while you would find a human remain. But most Nkondis, Nkisi Nkondis, were not full-blown skulls.
Right.
They were not full-blown bodies.
Right.
And this understanding comes from the Taino mythology, from Bayamanako, from the understanding of Yayael, the creation story of Yayael, where it talks about that the Tainos had a son named Yaya. The son was so curious about his father's gourd that was filled with milk and honey that was in the corner of the barracon, that he got up on a little pedestal and tipped it over. When he tipped it over, he created the world, the moons, the stars, everything came out of that gourd. But in the flood water, that boy dies. So the father finds him, right? The father finds him, and he's so saddened that he buries him in the earth. So he buries him in the earth, and a few years goes by, and Yayael says, you know what? I miss my son. I'm going to bring him back. So what does he do? He disinters his son from the ground and puts him on the gourd. And he puts him in the gourd with none other than dirts, plants, arrowheads, pieces of semi-god. And now he takes the head, the arms, the rib cages, and the legs, and he puts them and he hangs them up into the gourd, and he starts speaking to his son. And in that process of speaking to his son, he creates what's called the hue, or the understanding of an ancestral force that becomes part of an animate world. It becomes part of this physical world. And what is that? None other than an Nganga.
Right.
And then that's where the concept of that becomes prevalent in Congo philosophy, in Congo understanding, and in Palo understanding. So that's where the Mfumbe is born from. The Mfumbe doesn't come from Africa. The Mfumbe was born in Cuba.
Right. Wow. So everybody is chiming in. Everybody's loving it. Guys, if you have any questions, myself and Tata Eric can actually see them as you put them. So if you have any questions, don't be ashamed to ask them, okay? That is not a problem. Oh, Tata, let me ask you something else before we take another little break, okay?
Go ahead, brother.
Does everyone, okay, because I've seen it, and I know you've seen it, and it's again, 10 years ago, that was the norm. Lately, people have not been doing it like that there. What does everyone need to be initiated into Palo?
The concept of initiation means to take on the understanding that you are going to take on other people's issues and other people's problems and give back to your community, right?
Right.
So the issue with that being a situation where people think that this is a quick fix for my life, I need it for health, I need it for this, I need it for that, I need it for the other, is improbable, because the reality is that you, Candelo, you get clients, right? Clients come in. The reading may state that they need to get involved in Palo, but how involved are they?
Right.
How involved are they? Yeah, all the markings and all the makings for a Palero priest, but Palero is dedication and understanding of what you're getting involved in. So I might be able to resolve for the person with a cleaning and tell them, hey, if you decide that this is what you would like to do, then you should probably further study it. I think what happens is that people are so quick to make money off of someone that they'll offer them initiation.
Right.
But the initiation process is just one Look, I got initiated in 2001. I only have 19 years of Palo, right?
Right.
2001. My godfather, the same day I got initiated, I was helping in the room.
Mm.
All right.
Right.
I was helping in the room. That was my study class.
Right.
A lot of people don't get that. They get initiated and get kicked out.
Right.
So I had the ability. I didn't have the know-how.
Right.
I had the ability to help.
Right.
The ability to help is one thing. The know-how is another.
Right. Right. And, well, that just goes to show. I mean, in every spirituality, bro, you know, you're an Ocha priest, okay?
Yeah.
Not everybody is meant to be a caracolero, all right? Not everybody is meant to be a padrino, okay? Some people, I know people that have yubaneado 100 people and haven't had one head, okay? So to be inside this spirituality and to think that you're automatically going to do everything, okay? Or you're going to be the baddest Tata or whatever. No, because just like in other spiritualities, there's certain paleros that you can go to and they can do you un amarre. They can tie you down in a fucking second, but they couldn't save a person's life for nothing.
That is true. So
to believe that you're going to be all things are going to be encompassed in your initiation is ludicrous.
Yeah, it's
okay. Bad. And that's the job of the Tata or of the Engando of the spirit, okay, to be able to tell you, listen, you're going to be good at this, and this is what you need to put your fucking head to.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I see it all the time, man. You know, people think, and you just said that, like the initiation is going to be the end all or be all or anything. Man, let me tell you something. When I first got initiated, I was an asshole. I was still a fucking asshole when I finished up getting initiated. This fucking light of kumbaya didn't come on my head. And all of a sudden, I'm fucking, you know, Prince Candelo Kimbisa. It didn't happen. I still had my same trials, my same tribulations. I still had my same fucking addictions. Okay. I still had all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and people have this this misconception that somehow an initiation or any of these things is going to fix you as a fucking person.
No, it doesn't. You know, all of us have our hangups. You know, I think I'm one to even say myself that, you know, fucking, I've gone through so much shit and I still keep going. I think I even put myself in shit that I shouldn't have.
Right.
But things happen. We're humans, you know. We're humans. We're not infallible, man. We're not deities, you know. Even though we would like to feel that, you know, with these initiations, I think people think that it's gonna be the fix it, but it's really not. It's gonna make you look more introspectively of who you are, you know, and how you got to fix yourself.
You're right about that. Well, guys, we're going to take ourselves a little break. If you guys have any questions, please do feel free to share them with us. You know where we're at, except for the people on YouTube, because I cannot see you guys on YouTube. We're just, we can only have one chat dingy, whatever the fuck they call it. And that's the one from Facebook. Okay, guys, we'll be right back. You're listening to It's 12 o'clock somewhere with our special guest, Tata Eric Cologne. We will be right back.
All
right.
mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo, e pioso mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo cuelea. Mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo, mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo, e pioso mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo cuelea. Ah, mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo. Mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo, e pioso mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo cuelea. Mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo, mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo, e pioso mere botimbo lo de, mere botimbo cuelea. Ah, mere botimbo.
But of course, the music wants to cut off now, but we will Get it right.
I'm back.
All right, brother. I don't know what the hell happened to the music, but it'll probably start playing as soon as we start talking again. But of course, that is modern fucking technology.
It is what it is, brother. It is what it is. I'm over here trying to get all this set up too. Fucking crazy.
As soon as we start talking again. But of course, that is modern. Okay, let me turn this off.
All right, brother.
In case. Unfortunately, ego does get in the way of people staying humble. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course it is. But someone just asked me, Tata, do you think that someone can change their destiny with Palo? I really don't think you can change it. You can soften it. I've known people that have really, been taken out of death's door, okay? And do great for a couple of years and then just fucking die, okay? Because, what's dealt to you, it's what's dealt to you, honestly, I mean, you can kind of hold things off for a minute, but can you actually change it? Well,
I think things that are predestined, death is predestined. No one can change that. We can push things to the side so that things can be maneuvered a little better. I think we're the controllers of that understanding. Spirituality in itself, can move things for the betterment. So like I've had a few people that have come knocking at my door with these situations where they were at the border of dying and are still living to this day due to ceremony,
right.
ceremonies, cleanings, placating with the spirit, even placating with God, because people think that, we're mayomberos, we're just an enfumbe. Well, you know what? Primero Sambi sobre todas las cosas, right?
Right.
Everything is God first, man. People, even the baddest of mayomberos can say, or the baddest people who say that they're in Doki, but they have to give reverence to Sambi,
Right.
If they don't, then they're shooting themselves in the foot,
Well, and guys, and Tata, I thank you for saying that, because a lot of people say, oh no, yo no creo en Sambi, yo no creo en Dios, yo no creo en nada. Está bien, okay, it's fine. Each one to his or her beliefs. Yeah. I don't care, okay. But there needs to be some type of form of communication with this so-called spirit that you got, because I've known, at least in my lifetime, 2 or 3 paleros that say, I don't feel nothing from my nganga, or it's just there, it does what I tell them to do and that's it, or the concept of el muerto being your slave. Okay, yeah. That's something big that comes up in the ATRs. No, they have slaves because they have a muerto. I've always said that is a contract with that said being. Okay. Ayúdame a ti, ayúdame a mí que yo te ayudaré. You know what I'm saying? You help them get that higher plane. Okay. So what is your thoughts on these? What are your thoughts on these? And what do you think about the little statements that I just made?
I again, when we look at Palo from its conception, right, or the understanding of what nature is, right, and the understanding of Bakulu, or the understanding of a venerated ancestor, right, that was maybe the most orthodox understanding of Palo in the early 1500s to like about the early 1800s, right? And then what happens is that you have the Cuban Revolution that starts. Right. The Cuban Revolution starts, and with revolution there's war, and with war there's a change of understanding of why we do things the way we do them, right? Mm-hmm. So Briyumba becomes this formidable group that sweeps over the island. Right. Sweeps over the island, right? Sweeps over the island. And they're stealing bones, they're taking people's bones, they're enslaving them, because for that time, for that era, for that understanding, that is what Palo needed to survive.
Right.
Right. But is it the true concept of Palo? No. The problem with that is that how do you unlearn that?
Mm-hmm.
How do you unlearn that concept? It's very hard to unlearn something that has been passed on and passed on and passed on as law. As you know, mi padrino dijo que no, que esto, tú tienes que esclavizar el muerto porque si no, no te va a trabajar, or stuff like that. He becomes incredulous. You can't put a black person in an nganga. You got to put a white person in an nganga, because that you can enslave them. The black is lazy. You know, there's just so many, and it's not a racial thing. It's just a conceptual understanding of how people thought back then.
Right.
You know. Oh, one of the more famous ones, when 15 years ago, when people were getting bones from China. Oh, let's put a Chinese guy in the front because he don't believe in anything.
Right.
You know, he don't believe in nothing. And again, that is just conceptual understanding of.
Oh, it sounds like the Tata that I knew that says, bueno, el muerto en Sama and Ganga is a Chino. He likes Chinese rice. I told him, motherfucker, they don't even eat Chinese rice. They don't even get shit on board in China. What are you talking about?
I know, right? Motherfucker, put some bugs. That's what they like, bugs.
Yeah.
No, but again, you know, like it's an understanding. It's an understanding that became very convoluted, and then just it melded into every understanding of what is Palo today. You know, what is Palo today? And I think what happens is that if you study, I'm not saying you have to be super educated, because I only have a GED, you know, but I took the time to understand and apply what I understand to what I know, and evidence. There's evidence out there that proves it.
Right.
It's not me. I'm not making this up.
Right.
I'm not. If you look at politics, if you look at economic, social status, if you look at why things become the way they look, prior to 300 years ago, there was no pantheon of Palo. Right. There was no pantheon. Mm-hmm. Most of the Ngangas that people know as Cholawenge, Centella, Madre Agua, they were Ngangas that lived in plantations. And it was one Nganga per plantation. Right. When the Cuban Revolution started, of course, when the Cuban Revolution starts, then you have this understanding that we have to save religion. So let's create what the Orisha people did. They have a pantheon. Let's create a pantheon. And that's what they did. Right. I'm not saying that they're non-existent. Mark my words, because a lot of people say, oh, he doesn't believe in impungos. He doesn't believe in none of that. Not true. What I'm saying is that a pantheon was non-existent. Does it exist today because people have made it that way? Yes. And that's fine if that's how you practice, and that's, but back in the days, not everybody had a siete rayos. Right. You could have an understanding of a potencia of a siete rayos, right? But it had a name, Gallo Ronco, you know, Kisambula, Enganga, you know, just different names. Yeah, Vence Batalla, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And there's also, you know, these days, not these days, well, I grew up in a different time, okay? Yeah. Because when I first got into it, you know, the main person in the house was the main person in the house. The main Tata, the Tatandi was the main Tata. But often they belong to other sects or other juegos, right? Yeah. My Tata was an Abacua, so he had several other brothers that were his hermanos in el Abacua, but they were scratched into different ramas, okay? Yeah. And they all work together. They all work together. I mean, there might have been a Bruyumbero, there might have been a Kimisero, there might have been a Mayumbero, okay? And that's not even talk about the subgroups, okay? Yeah. Lo Guinavela, you know, los Igualitos and all that other stuff. Congo Real, all that stuff. Yeah, all that stuff. And there's a big misconception that there's only 3 Ramas of Palo, okay? Let's call them los troncos, okay? Let's call them los troncos just for the sake of speaking, okay? Yeah.
Mayombe, Briumba, and Kimbisa, right?
Mm-hmm.
But out of those, there's a whole bunch of subgroups, and some that are totally even off the wall. You know, lo Changani, lo Tumbaitiano. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk a little bit about those certain sects and how, you know, they all have something to do within the world of Palo. Okay, because some people, again, you know, oh, el brumbero, esa mierda no sirve. Or, you know, ese quimbicero don't sirve. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Es basura. It's trash.
I think what people don't understand is that Kimbisa is a rama within itself that has sub-ramas, right?
Right.
Sub-ramas. So when people hear Kimbisa, they hear Santo Cristo Buen Viaje, for lack of a better term, right? Santo Cristo Buen Viaje. Different orders, different sects, Orden 4, Orden 7, Orden 9, all these different orders in Santo Cristo Buen Viaje that become part of what is the understanding of Kimbisa. But there are groups of Kimbisa, right? That people don't know. Like there's Kimbisa Quijenco Soberano, right? Or there's Kimbisa BTT Congo Kimbisa, not BTT Congo Sacampeño,
right?
BTT Congo Kimbisa, right?
Right.
And so forth. And so these groups have really nothing to do with the conceptual ideology of Andres Petit.
Exactly.
They're part of the same group of Kimbisa, but they're not Santo Cristo Buen Viaje. That's a house.
Right.
And people don't understand the difference between what a house is and what a rama is.
Right.
That's just like in Mayombe. You got Mayombe, you have Batalla Sacampeño, you have Beju Finda, you have Sacun Hueso Virao, you have Kalunga Munansambi. You have a different styles of Mayombe within Mayombe, right?
Right.
Then, of course, you have the Briumba groups, right? You know, you have VTT Congo Sacampeño, that was like a mix of Kimbisa and Mayombe, and then they became Briumba somehow, right? And then you have you have other groups, Lemba, you have Lo Munankita, Lo Manankita, different other groups that are all part of Briumba, you know, and again, not one is better than the other. What happened was that the three major groups were the three reigning groups that were known, that became commercially known in Cuba.
Right.
Which was Briumba, Mayombe, and Kimbisa. And that happened in a drumming with the three groups coming together, call it Cangre Yuca, which just means the drum, you know, the drum. They had Yuca drums. They got these three engangas together, you know, these three famous engangas, Ngo La Habana, Cuatro Viento, and Catalina Mangasaya, and they did a big drumming, and behind that drumming, they created these groups where now some people practice together because they shared secrets. That also came from the Cabildo understanding, you know.
Right. And
so not anyone is wrong, but some houses still practice totalitarianism. You know, we are a group that we don't share with other groups. We'll let you in afterwards, but our ceremonies are ours. And I think, you know, it's just difference of opinion. In New York, everybody got together.
Right.
Everybody got together because you didn't have that many paleros out there.
Well, but in Miami, so was the fact too, dude. You know, it was the fact. I'm sorry. I mean, and people may say que no, but I was there. I saw it.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. They all get together. They all rumba, palo pa rumba, vamos pa allá, you know.
Right.
They get going. I saw it. I saw it a lot in New York, you know. I ran around for a little bit, and it happens, you know.
Right.
I'm not going to criticize it because I was part of that, you know. I was part of it. My view now is very different from back then.
Right.
But when you're hungry for knowledge and you're hungry, you're gonna go.
Exactly. And honestly, it's funny because, you know, I've had several people from other things that have seen me work, and they say, wait a minute, ese trabajo parece, it doesn't look Kimbisa, it looks like this. But you, like you just said, people don't know en qué hueco tú estás metido. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it gave me a little bit of knowledge of other things. And just like you said, you know, I got licencia to work with Biyumba. I have a Biyumba pot that I love.
Yeah.
You know, that I love. So guys, let's keep the party going. Let me play a little bit of Trinidadian music, and Tata, Eric Colon, and myself will be right back. Y'all go take a pee or something. We'll be right back.
Said I'm mad, but it was by chance. I really found myself in the Shango dance. Some said I'm mad, but it was by chance. I really found myself in the Shango dance. The drum was beating out the oh, and then the people shouted for Sapapo. And when I belly sang, oh, sign of day, oh, sign of day, oh, sign of day, oh, sign of on the gong as if I were dead, and then the place I populate on top of my head. So I start to dance in salutation to the folk who gave me inspiration. Though they say that the saint was a jab, just some said I dance, oh sign and a batala, and when I fell the song, oh sign of the day, oh sign of the day,
Wait a minute, it's time for me to dance.
oh sign of the day,
There we go.
oh sign of the day, and when I started dancing the Ajaja, they said I've got to invoke the Abatala. So in order to do the invocation, I had to use all blue and perspiration. Do the drum beat, go, my bailani, tilililingo, ting bangule, and oh, sign on day.
You know, he's actually saying, oh, sign.
Yeah, I know. It's talking about the line and everything.
Oh, sign on day, oh, sign on day.
All right, baby. You know, we are getting down over here. We're having a good time. Everybody's saying that their days are going good. They're loving the information on the live. They're loving you, brother. So
thank you. I wanted to touch up on something which is interesting, because the two songs that you put, and then you put a song about Osain and they were talking about Shango, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the Palo concept, right, of our understanding of Taino mythology, right?
Right.
The actual turtle, and I'm not going to mention secrets or anything like that, but this is kind of like general.
Right.
The turtle in Taino culture represents fertility.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it represents fertility. In Africa, they don't feed Shango a turtle. Right. And Sasi doesn't eat turtle in Africa. Not like that. Right. And so what is Fondo Canasta and what is a tradition from Shango that we feed now in Lukumi, right? And we pass something for everyone to drink, right? Mm-hmm. You have that Orisha to your head. They do it because of Taino culture. Mm-hmm. That's proven. That's archaeological proof of Taino intermeshing with Congo and Orisha practices.
Oh, okay.
because it's born from the understanding of who is Bayamanako, which he is none other than the fire. They call him the fire god or the fire deity, or father fire in the Taino culture.
Well,
he cursed his son, and he grew a Manitou on his back. And that Manitou grew so big that his other son, who's called, I think it's Caracolex, he cut it with none other than a double axe hammer. He cut it out of the body of the other son, and when he put it down, it was a turtle, and the turtle was a female, and she gave birth, to humanity. She kept giving birth to humanity.
Oh, I love this. Go ahead.
And so then what happens is that the Congos, the Lukumis, they saw this. They said, hey, we can incorporate this into our tradition.
Right. So that goes to show that these spiritualities are forever evolving. Okay.
Yes.
And they'll keep on evolving as we move to other lands, as the ecological structure of our lands actually diminishes or grows into something else. But I also wanted to ask you a question, okay? And this is a question. This is no more of a question than it is actually a statement, okay? Because we've all seen this, okay? Self-initiates, okay? People that say, I am of a certain lineage. My mother was Santera. My grandfather was a palero. So therefore, I can work this. And you see people from other spiritualities now calling on Siete Rayos, calling on Sarabanda, calling on Oshun. Oshun is everybody's baby. Everybody in Atlanta is a child of fucking Oshun. Even the dudes, But I'm sorry, I come from a different time, I come from a way different time. Okay. What do you think about the people these days that say, well, I can work with Sarabanda because I had a dream of him. He appeared to me on a railroad track at 12 o'clock at night while smoking a cigar with a machete in his hand.
Well, look, I'm not going to knock people's spirituality. Okay. In some frequency, in some way, these what we would call the understanding of what is Sarabanda as he is now in contemporary Palo. I believe wholeheartedly that people can bring things into light, right?
Right. Of course.
I can.
But you're smiling while you're saying that. So you're grabbing your chest like let me measure my words.
Yeah, you know why? Because I don't want people to take out of context that lighting a candle, a green candle or a purple candle, you're able to call this supposed deity. Because again, an Nganga is the microcosm of the world.
Of the universe.
All right? Of the universe, right? But whose universe?
Right.
Is it my universe? Is it your universe? Or is it everyone's universe? Because when I received my Nganga, it was for me.
Right.
Just like when you received your Nganga, it was for you.
Right.
That's what makes you an individual.
Right.
And so everyone has an individual destiny, and everyone has an individual universe that is going to be their reality, right?
Right.
So again, you can't receive something that you have no comprehension of. So if you didn't receive a Saravanda physically, a physical form with focal points, with spirituality, with animals, with dirt, with stuff, and then you received it and you made a pact, a blood pact with it.
And not a pact with a thigh that you bought at Publix with the little blood water that's in his eye.
Exactly.
Somebody was eating,
or smashing grapes and making juice.
No. I say things jokingly, brother, but honestly, I met someone years ago that said I made my own Nganga, and I would buy the chicken at Publix, and I would put that little slime shit inside the thing.
No, I know, bro. I've seen it all. It's all bad.
Yeah. Or blowing vape inside of an nganga.
Oh, that's even worse, bro. That's even Look, just buy $1 cigarette. I'd rather see a person blowing a cigarette on me, you know?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
But please go ahead.
But again, like I said, look, there are things that are going to manifest that are going to call themselves Sarabanda, Siete Rayos, and so forth, right?
Right.
But is it true? Because we got to look at the concept of, is it truthful, or is it something that either my spirituality is calling forth and I'm obsessing with that understanding and thinking that it is so, when I don't really know, because I don't have proof.
Right.
I don't have proof because I don't have the physical manifestation. Now it doesn't mean that in the Ndozi state, which is the dream state for everyone, that things do not manifest. But do they manifest as a practitioner? Because if you are a practitioner, then I can see Candelo say, hey, you know what? I saw my Nganga, he took me through a road, and he told me this, and he told me that, and he told me the other, whether you have Sarabanda, Siete Rayos, or if you have the whole goddamn pantheon. And they spoke to you.
Right.
All right. Because you know why? You have that pact.
Right.
But does the layman have that pact? No, they don't.
Right.
So how is it that they create this exclusivity?
Right.
I can work with you. No, you can't.
Right. And wow. I was just going to tell you something that was mind-blowing and whatever. But, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and ask somebody else's question.
Go ahead.
Because a lot of people think that Palo is strictly male orientated, okay? And a lot of people have taken the role of the yaya out of it, okay? We both know that without a yaya present, there's no birth, okay? There's no birth in Palo. There's nothing of that sort. So please enlighten them with the importance of the yayas inside the home, inside the munaso, and the importance of yayas in Palo, okay? The importance of them. How do they come about? I mean, what is their role in Palo? Because, of course, you know, everybody thinks it's an all boys club.
Yeah. The problem with that is when, again, back in the days, that was never an issue. Now it's become an issue because of other cultures that have influxed into Palo, mainly the understanding of what is Abakwa, right?
Yes.
And so a lot of that understanding of this is an all males club comes from the understanding of Abakwa, and is not really a Mayombe concept, because the woman is just as important or more so than the male. Because in Mayombe understanding, if you knock on the door, the first people that go into the room before men are the women. They're the ones that light up everything. They're the ones that bring in light without giving secrets. They bring in the light. So they're the ones that illuminate the way for the Mfumbe, for the Nganga, for the Tata, for the initiates. So their energy is just as or more important than the actual male energy. Because if you look at the concept of Bantu, right? What is Bantu? And what is the understanding of Kalunga, the word Kalunga, right? People think, oh, it's a deity, Madre Agua, Mariquilla, whatever. The reality of Kalunga is two words. It's Ka and Lunga, right? And the word Kalunga means that which is complete within itself. And so Kalunga is divided into two, between Kalunga and Kalungo. Kalunga being female aspect, Kalungo being male. The death component of when an initiate is taken to where he's taken to the point of him going through the door, he's dead.
Right.
That's the male counterpart.
Right. And the light is the going through the womb and going through the
exactly, and that is the concept of woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so without that birth concept, that doesn't, even in Gangas, certain in Gangas, they can't see fondo canasta, but the engandos a lot of times can be and will be wrapped by women.
Mm-hmm.
In Mayombe concept.
In Mayombe concept, yes.
Okay, because they are the ones that are birthing.
Right.
The actual caldero itself, the cauldron, whether it's a candango, whether it represents the womb, the yona.
The womb. Mm-hmm.
That's what it represents, and it's birthing.
It is birthing.
I think people got it confused with Orisha because people think Orisha birth.
Mm-hmm.
No, Orisha don't birth.
Mm-hmm.
Mayombe births, Palo births,
mm-hmm.
but Orisha doesn't birth. There's just an exchange of energy,
right.
which is different.
Right.
You know, and that concept is very different because you bring it through a birth process, and so without male and female, there's no understanding. There's no real conceptual understanding of what Palo is. You know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That people now practice and they hold candles, all men and all that. No. That's fine. Again, it's not wrong, but conceptually, that was never the case back in the days.
That was never the case, and I knew Chango Dina. Okay, yeah. I knew some hell of a damn women paleras. They were up in age. She must have been 70-something when I first met her. Okay, and I knew that lady was a beast.
Yeah.
I mean, she could do anything but build it in Ganga and scratch a motherfucker.
I know a lot of women paleras, you know. I know a lady who's very secretive. I have not seen her in years, but she lived in that. Well, I don't know if she still lives in Arizona. And she was from Quijenco Soberano.
Right.
And this woman, I had a situation one time, and I was a young palero, and she sent me something through the mail.
Uh-huh.
And said, look, do this, that, and the third, and resolve. And I resolved big time.
Exactly.
Big time. So, you know, the understanding of women in our concept is key. A matter of fact, is essential.
It's
because
essential.
A Tata cannot be a Tata without a Yaya.
Without a Yaya. Exactly. Wow, that is great. When we come back, guys, we are going to talk a little bit about Spiritism, all right, and ancestral worship. I think that is an important topic we need to talk about because
definitely.
There are so many people these days. Calling offshoots of whatever is Spiritismo, and just like Palo, there's different ramas of Spiritismo. I do not knock it in any way, shape, or form, but let's talk a little bit about ancestors and ancestral reverence and ancestral knowledge. And for some reason, none of my stuff is coming up. There it goes. There we go. This will be long enough for me to go upstairs and take a pee. Yeah. Let's go to maybe some Congotronics, right?
Sweet. Let's
see if we can. And now this thing doesn't want to stop fucking moving. Okay. You know what? No, let's play a little bit of Bembecito Apocang. Everybody likes him, likes this song from Eluaye. And I would like to also speak a little bit about mambos and how it resounds and comes up almost like the call and response of Son Montuno, of African American spirituality in the African American church. And I think that'll be a great topic for us to finish this stuff up with. Well, cool. Guys, you're listening to It's 12 o'clock somewhere with our special guest, Tata Eric Colon and Tata Candelo Kimbisa. I'll be right back. I gotta pee.
chango, lo mío, a la tola, aquí la tola, para un bajo chile, uruta guabobi, mamá loro, orugo camei, orugo camei, guolo tu mare, gato pingo yo, agua que te lepe, oh, que te huela, oh, patele la valoriza, oh, patele la valoriza, oh, patele la gualato, y no cobaye, oh, baboso, siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas, poco, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas, poco, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas. Oh, siete leguas, poco, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas. Oh, yo, siete leguas, poco, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas. Ah, rayos pato un poco, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas. Arriba por abajo ponte, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas. Siete rayos allá la fama, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas. Oh, siete leguas pongo, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas. Siete leguas pongo, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas. Javier Sileo, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas. Siete leguas pongo, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas. Rayo mato pongo, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas pongo, siete leguas pongo. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas pongo, siete leguas pongo. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas pongo, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas pongo, siete leguas. Siete leguas, siete rayos me lleva, rayo para pongo, siete leguas pongo, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, Fabio que mi chavo, siete leguas pongo. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas pongo, siete leguas. Siete rayos me lleva, siete leguas.
This shit like a gangster.
Una niña a la orilla del río, viendo las amarguras de este mundo tan traidor. Ella le imploraba a Dios, ella le imploraba a Dios, solo pidió bajarla, pero nadie la escuchaba, y ella decidió volar. Ya la viene, vele, ya para la. Abuela, ¿cómo va a volar? Oh, ¿cómo va a volar? Oh, yo lo mío va a ganar. ¿Cómo va a volar? Va a volar. Y mi abuela ya. Oh, yo lo mío va a ganar. Oh, como vuela ya. Vuela ya. ¿Cómo va a volar? Los niños van a volar. Vuela, como vuela ya. Vuela, niña, vuela ya. Vuela, ¿cómo va a volar?
Here comes the breakdown. All right. First of all, guys, I want to explain something to y'all before y'all say, "Oh, that was not Palo. That was no." It was that is a mixture of music that was just placed together. Several songs of bembes, of Congo. It was several songs, and most of the mambos that you hear played on YouTube, or where you buy a disco, a disco. A song.
You're showing your age. You're showing your age.
Yeah, I'm showing a disco. Who the fuck buys fucking albums anymore? So, most of them, and most of the mambos you may hear today are a mixture of several mambos put together. Okay, so let's get that across. Okay, so let's bring in the thing of the music. Okay, why the music? Okay, other than to call and to jug at spirit. Okay, and sometimes there were even buyas sent by the gallos to the people that were inside the place. Okay, if there were several people singing, they were throwing jabs at each other.
Yeah.
All right? So let's talk a little bit about the music, so people can get a little bit of understanding about the music. Why the music? Why the jugs at other practitioners inside the same thing? I mean, it barely ever broke out into fights, but sometimes it did. Okay. Yeah. But una puya que alguien le tiró, you know, while singing, you know?
Yeah. You know, it creates for the competitiveness of each person as a gallo, right? As a person who likes to sing and who studies the actual spoken word, right? Mambo, you know, or you know, the understanding of how to agitate arial, right? To agitate, to whip the person in check, to whip the nganga in check, to even change the atmosphere in check. So a mambo, a lot of times, you know, with a mambo you can heal someone or you can kill someone, you know.
Right.
Just like with a candle, you can heal someone, you can kill someone with the spoken word. Because everything comes into fruition from energy, right? And the energy that we put out, mambos are always subjugated. They're subjective from house to house, but also mambos are living it's a living anomaly that right then and there a person can make a mambo that if it resonates and it stands within a juego, people will repeat it years later because it's improvised. It's kind of like old school hip hop, the way hip hop used to be back in the days.
Right.
Where there's a lot of new artists that think that this hip hop now is what it is, and it's not.
Right.
Spoken word, because you had to be intellectually intertwined with your spirit. I'm not talking about intellectually book smart. I'm talking about understanding that the universe is calling, you know? So like simple stuff, like simple stuff. Hold on.
Well, and I also want to bring into existence, because you know, and I made this analogy the other day, and a whole bunch of the old gods said, "Fuck yeah, it's a fucking cipher."
Yeah,
you remember when the 5%ers used to get together?
I remember,
and they built a cipher.
I put ciphers in the Bronx, in New York. I grew up in that era. So.
Yeah, and it's almost equates to the same fucking thing.
Yeah, just like, look, there's a song for the candle, right? En pemba yo, en pemba que alumbra, en pemba yo, en pemba que alumbra, en pemba yo. You know, so there's songs for the candle. There's songs for water. There's songs for walking in. There are so many different songs. Just like in the beginning of our broadcast, when we started talking about Kimbambula, right?
Right.
A lot of people don't understand that song is it's an opening for an understanding of thinking of another time, right? And there's a lot of interpretive stuff that goes with that, right? But you know, with that song, it talks about a time, you know.
Right.
It talks about a time of remembering when people were heads of state. You know, so the mambo, I gotta refresh in my memory because I got it in the middle, but I'm trying to remember it from Ae la Kimbambula. Ae la Kimbambula, right? And we're saying I remember, or I'm remembering. Ae la Kimbambula, Ae la Kimbambula, and then it goes to Spanish. Si todo mundo tiene paso pa su brillumba menudo. It's talking about people are thinking that they're talking about the brillumba. They're talking about bringing a pot. It's talking about, in all actuality, that mambo talks about si todo mundo tiene paso, if everyone has a pass, pa su brillumba, for the head of their state, because bri means head and yumba means state. Head of state. I remember a time when everyone was a head of state, except myself. He's giving remembrance to his ancestors. He's giving remembrance to those people that have passed on. So people think it's a puya of brillumba, and it's not. It's actually saying, si todo mundo tiene paso pa su brillumba menos yo. I remember everyone that was a head of state except for myself.
Right.
Ae la Kimbambula. Kimbambula, Kimbambula, la buena noche. Kimbambula, Kimbambula. Ya son las horas.
Right.
I'm remembering the good nights.
It's almost like Mundo Nuevo, Carile, Mundo Nuevo, Papalimba.
Yeah. Mundo Nuevo, Carire. Carire, Andiambula. Yeah. There's a lot of songs like that. There's a lot of songs. There's a song in I know there's one song in Kimbisa that they used to open up. I'm trying to remember it. I'll get back to it. It'll come.
No, we're good. We're good. I mean, we're almost an hour and a half into this. You can tell that we're having fun, and this conversation is getting good, and the audience is just getting bigger. So let's talk a little bit about Spiritism, okay? Because let's not confuse ancestral reverence with Spiritism.
Okay.
Because I hear a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, you say you're working with your ancestors, but you don't know your ancestors, right?
Mhm.
You don't know past your grandmama,
Yeah.
you know, which happens to a lot of us. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, but through Espiritismo and through La Mesa Blanca and through all this, we get to know these spirits and we get to work with these spirits.
Yes.
We know that Espiritismo does not need initiation, okay, but it does need guidance. Because we know que hay espíritus burlones, right?
Of course.
There are spirits that will put on a mask that make you think that we're one thing and they're in actuality another thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people tell me, Tata, I had a dream that you were whatever. And I'd be like, well, that's not me. But a lot of times I know that when my muerto wants to send somebody a message, he will come to them in a mask of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
Because they won't know who the fuck the muerto is.
Yeah. Exactly.
You understand? So what are your takes on Espiritismo and the influence the influences had on modern day ancestral thing? Because everybody's talking about their ancestors now. And if you remember 10, 15, 20 years ago, there wasn't anybody speaking about ancestors.
No, not at all. Not at all. Espiritismo, the creation of Espiritismo, or what they call the spiritualist movement, right, was to have a scientific understanding that there was an afterlife, and that through that you can speak to people that have passed on, right? People who have died. And so that communication of spiritism was created by none other than Allan Kardec. And he did scientific proof at the time when they considered it a pseudoscience. You know, nowadays people are realizing that, you know, psychic mediums and people people of now credible science is being put to that, right? They're being put to the test. They're saying, where are these people getting these mediumistic views? Where is this coming from? Is this part of the universe? Is this part of that? Is this? But again, Espiritismo has to do a lot with not so much ancestral worship, more so than speaking directly with people who have passed on. Right. And I'll tell you, one time my aunt told me that her mother, when they were working at Spiritismo in the 1920s, okay, the 1930s, you know, a lot of people go off to war. You know, a lot of people go off to war and stuff like that. People die in the wars and stuff. And she'd say that people would come down from the Spanish-American War to talk about situations that happened during that time. You know, and one time in Cornelia Street, where my family grew up, you know, Cornelia Street in Brooklyn, between Bushwick Avenue and Evergreen, they had a Templo Espiritista there, one of the very first. Not saying exclusive, one of the very first. In the 1950s, there was a man that came, a Guajiro, you know, a campesino, a jíbaro from Puerto Rico, to our house. And he got mounted with a spirit that was from World War II. And this man knew nothing of English and was speaking perfect English and even sang the fucking national anthem in a fucking misa. You know? So those times nowadays have been far and few, you know? There was a time where you would hear a lot of those stories, right? But Espiritismo is a good vernacular. It's vernacular for people of who are practicing their mediumistic side, you know. But it's a muscle. You have to grow it.
You got to grow it, exactly.
You got to grow that muscle, man. I'm 49. I just turned 49 years old on last week on Wednesday, and I've been doing it since I was 6 years old. So I got quite a bit of upkeep on that part, but it doesn't come from one day to another. I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people. I see a lot of people come and say oh, all of a sudden, you know, I'm an espiritista. Okay, well, how long you've been practicing? 2 years. Oh, okay. And how many people are you reading? Oh, I'm reading every day. What? Dude,
oh, excuse me. Someone decided to call me. Yeah. You know how that is. No,
it's all good. It's all good. And you ask them, well, what are you doing? How do you read them? Well, I read them with cowrie shells, or I read them with this, or and I'm like, that's not really Spiritism, brother. You know?
Right. It's not.
Spiritism is a cold reading. Give me a glass of water and a candle, and we sit down and we do what we got to do.
And we got to do what we got to do. Exactly. And again, I do not want to mix up ancestral reverence with Espiritismo. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. You know, people think having a bóveda is practicing Spiritism, and it's not. Because who is the vessel that deals with their spirituality? None other than the person.
Right.
So I don't have a bóveda. I don't have a bóveda. I don't have a spiritual altar. I don't have. Now, when I'm gonna go and do that, I will set one up. I'll put a cup. I'll put a Bible. I'll do my prayers. Then at the end of it, I'll put everything away. You know why? Because spirituality walks with you.
Right.
It doesn't resonate in a table.
You are the Nganga.
Yeah, you are the priest. You are the spiritual vehicle. So if your spirituality vehicles around that, then you can practice anywhere.
Right.
You don't need to be like this whole thing about setting up 10 cups and having all these things, all these little crystals and amulets and blah. They look beautiful, but it's so much upkeep.
Right.
Because you got to clean that.
Yeah.
Are you going to leave the cups dirty?
Well, you're absolutely right, brother. You're absolutely right. Well, Tata, we are going to end this. I want you to tell people where they can see you at. But right now, I know we're not doing anything. I've had like 4 or 5 events canceled for this year. Where can people reach out to you to get readings, to get spiritual advice? I've also wanted to talk to you about, because I do Zoom classes. So if you want to take a chance and maybe give some classes for people that are initiated in Palo, on the history of Palo and all that stuff there, or if you really want to give a class on whatever you want to give a class on, we have a platform for that also. Okay, so you're more than welcome to come on and join us in those things. So where can people? You have a website out, palomayombe.com.
It's Palo-Mayombe.
Okay, Palo dash. Oh, I put it in wrong on the thing, guys.
It's okay. It's Palo-Mayombe.
Palo-Mayombe.com. You can see all his writings there. Do you have a Cash App?
No. Yes, I do have Cash App. I have Cash App. I have PayPal. I can do readings on there. Okay, no, I'm not asking you for that, because I have a very generous audience. Okay, and if anybody wants to show Tata some love or anything like that, there, he likes good cigars, guys. If you want to show him some love, you can hit him up on his Cash App. What is your Cash App, brother? It's $Tata Musito.
Okay, $Tata Musito. Okay, so y'all do check him out there, brother. It was more than a pleasure to have you on today. You are always welcome.
I just wanted to say real quick that this was years in the making. I'm glad we did this, and hopefully we'll have some more time and we'll kick it some more. All right,
course, brother. We are definitely gonna have some more. Keep on talking. I'm just looking for something else to play us on the way out.
Oh, no worries. And then my Gmail is ericcolone7 if people wanna reach out to me on Gmail. They could reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, Tata Musitu. You know, I do a lot of things more for education. You know, I have clientele that reaches out to me for readings. But if you guys want readings and a different perspective or any perspective, you know, that's more than welcomed as well. But again, I want to thank Candelo for opening up this platform, you know, and I wish all of you guys all the best. I wish you the best. You stay safe, old man.
Hey, bro, you know me, man. Shit. It took me long enough to get these brand new teeth. I'm trying to use the hell out of them, brother.
Oh yeah, I got break them in, bro.
Salam alaikum, brother.
I've been blessed so far, but you know, you never know.
You never know, puppy. You never know. All right, guys. Salam alaikum, Tata. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you again.
As always, may all the eguns and shadows that accompany you have all the necessary light. From where I, Candelo Kimbisa, sits, that's it. Salam alaikum, everyone. Have a great and safe weekend.
Jambu. Bele, 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 bele. Oh, mama, abuela. El niño va a la escuela. Oh, mama, abuela. El niño va a la escuela.
Thank you all. Go have a great weekend.
A la escuela sin cazuela. Oh, mamá abuela. A la escuela, mamá abuela. Oh, mamá abuela. Que llega al puntual. Oh, mamá abuela. Mamá abuela sin cazuela. Oh, mamá abuela. Amalia, Amalia. Caballero, la rumba buena me llama. Amalia, 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 Amalia. Amalia, Amalia Batista. Amalia, 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 Amalia. Amalia, 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 Amalia Bayombe. Amalia, 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 Amalia. La vez que tiene esa negra buena que amarra a los hombres. Amalia, 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 Amalia.
Make sure y'all like, share, and tell everybody about this. Follow us on all our platforms.
Porque no me da la gana.
Amalia, 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 Amalia. Entre rumba y fandango se va.